How's it guys and girls? Today I'm quickly going to show you if you already own one of Eaglevisioncam's side cam setups with a universal scope clamp to go from the universal scope clamp to the latest 2-bar setup that they have to offer today. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as you guys can see, we have two Eaglevisioncam systems here. One is the older version of the Prism and one is the newer version of the Prism, with the older version having the sharper corners and edges and the newer one is more rounded off. But the 2-bar system will work on both of the Prisms, with the older version just maybe being a little bit more tedious and difficult to do finer adjustments on the main bracket of the 2-bar system. But that shouldn't be a train smash. It just may take some time in the beginning to adjust everything, but after that everything should be smooth sailing. I'm not going to do anything on this, as this is my personal own one that I've been using for all these years. I just added the 2-bar system on it, so I'm just going to move this aside. And we are basically going to work with the newer version, as most of the people that nowadays buy the Eaglevisioncam systems will have the newer Prism. So I'm going to move this ever so slightly out of the way and show you what you get when you buy the 2-bar system. It will come in two packages like this, with the one package having all the necessary things in to mount onto any desired scope. This is the main clamp itself. Basically, the main ring is 34mm for a scope with a 34mm tube. This inner ring, you will see it has 2B30RA on it. This is for a scope with a 30mm tube, which we are going to use, and then you get additional extra 25mm adapters as well if you have a 25mm tube scope. Also, you get a little Allen key inside here to loosen up the screws at the bottom. In the other packet we have the 2 bars. We have the main bracket itself where the 2 bars basically mounts on. Here we go with the 2 bars. Everything is made out of aluminium or aluminum, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So you know you get good quality products when you buy this from Eaglevisioncam. In this little packet we have an Allen key and some round-headed bolts that I'll talk about in just a little bit. Oops. And this is a little or bigger grub screw with a machined out part where this bolt goes into on top. So I'll show you in a bit what that is for. Also, you get this little package with 4 little grub screws inside them and an Allen key. Currently I only see 2 because I went ahead and already installed the 2 little grub screws inside. Get the camera in focus, inside here and here. And I recommend you doing this beforehand as well, before you start mounting the 2 bars, because this will just make life much more easier for you. So with the 2 grub screws inside there, we are now going to mount the bars itself. So you'll see on the one side of the main bracket the holes are shallow, and on the other side they are deep. So from the deeper side or the back side of the bracket itself, we are going to place the bolts with the round heads into those holes with the balls facing up. Then taking your grub screw with the dent inside of it facing towards the ball, screwing that in. And so for the other side as well. Then you're going to take your Allen key and fasten them as tight as possible, making sure they are kind of dead center. I'm going to explain to you now why. So we're going to twist them in, make them snug. Same goes for this side, screw it in all the way, like so, making sure it is kind of level. Like so, and then just tighten it up as tight as possible for now. Now we can take the bars and basically screw them in all the way, and the reason for tightening them up all the way is so that you can screw these two bars in much easier. I found that some of them go in a little bit tight, so making them secure makes it much more easier and saves time at the end of the day. That should be fine for now. And basically now we have the two bars in there, and we can take the Allen key and loosen up those two grub screws now, and to center them or level them exactly, we're just going to place them inside of the ring that goes onto the tube of the scope, like so. And now everything should be exactly level, and we can just fasten them not too tight, just ever so slightly, because we might need to do some adjustments on a later stage. So there we go. Now we can just slide this out, and the two bars should be fairly in place. Now we can take the prism and then remove the universal clamp itself, and move it aside, out of the way, and take the 2-bar system and then just screw it onto the prism. Like so. So say for instance you don't want it in this orientation, you maybe want it on the side like so. You can keep that in place like that. Take your small Allen key that's supplied inside of the package with the small grub screws, and then basically in whichever orientation you want, you can now, just want the camera to focus, you can now fasten those little grub screws. For the sake of the video, we are going to keep it on top like so. Just going to make life much more easier to explain to you guys what's going on. And now I'm just going to fasten those little grub screws ever so slightly, not too much, because we don't want to damage the thread of this main adapter plate for the two bars. Just want to get the Allen key in there. It is time consuming the first time around, but after doing this it should save you way more time switching the whole system from one scope to another, or just when you take it off and reinstall it onto your scope. So basically it's not all the way tight, those little grub screws, is just tight enough to keep everything secure. So there we go. That's how the two bars are being installed onto the prism itself. Now to mount this ring onto the scope. For this demonstration I'm going to use my MTC King Cobra F1 with a 34mm, with a 30mm tube. Installing this shouldn't be very difficult. It should be just exactly the same as mounting scope rings onto your scope. So we're loosening these little screws up for now. Like so. Putting this on top. I found it best if you put this ring close to the eyepiece itself rather than putting it close to the windage turret. It just makes for better securement at the end of the day. So I'm going to keep it there, flip the whole scope over like so. If you guys can see there. And then basically take this, let it lie on top. Just want to make sure my orientation is fine. Like so. Taking the screws and then just fastening it ever so slightly, not tight all the way, because we still want to make sure everything is leveled up. Now for this side. And there we go. The main ring is now installed onto the scope itself. I just need to loosen it up ever so slightly again. Now it's freely moving here. So now all what we need to do now is basically take the prism, the main side cam system, and then just slide it in like so. So make sure everything is loose there, and there we go. Now it's installed. So either if you decided the two bars must be on top or on the side, you can do the orientation just as you wish. So having it as it is at the moment, we can now do fine adjustments with the GoPro on. Just for demonstration purposes, there's no GoPro inside of this housing, but we can switch it on and now do fine adjustments left to right, making sure that we level out the camera towards the reticle of the scope. If we are happy with the picture, we can then fasten the main ring itself, and if we still need to do some fine adjustments, we can either loosen up the main mounting plate of the two bars and do ever so slightly adjustments from left to right with the prism, or we can then loosen up these little screws here of the housing of the camera and then also tilt it from left to right, making sure that everything is leveled up like so. Loosening these up. Like so, and then we can do fine adjustments from left to right to make sure everything is leveled up, and then just fasten it if we are happy. And if we maybe have a darkish image on one of the sides of the scope image itself, we can also just take the big Allen key that's supplied, loosen up these little grub screws, keeping the two side or the two main bars in place, and then ever so slightly just tilt it left and right or up and down to get the picture right in the center of the camera, and then just fastening it up. So basically that's how it's been done. Super easy and quick to do. Take your time setting it up at the first time around, and then next time when you take it off, when you slide the whole system out, these things are fairly new, so I don't want to scratch it, so you can just slide it out, put it away. Tomorrow or whenever you want to shoot again, you can just slide it back in and then just fasten it up, and there you go. Super easy, and very nice from Eaglevisioncam that they have decided to do this system. It's just much more quicker than the universal clamp itself. Okay guys and girls, there you have it. To change the whole system from the universal scope clamp to the 2-bar system, it's not really that difficult. It just takes some time the first time around, but like I said, it is compatible with the older prism and the newer prisms, so you shouldn't have any problems getting this to work on your Eaglevision side cam system. One thing that I really hope that Eaglevisioncam will look into in the future is maybe making some of these bars a little bit shorter, as they do tend to touch the windage turret or the side parallax wheel on some of the scopes, or on some of the scopes you will have a little gap here, as the bars will be a little bit long and can't pass all the way through, with the elevation turret being in the way maybe, or the windage turret being in the way. Small things, but always something that they can improve, but in my opinion a really nice system. There will be links down below in the video description where you can find all Eaglevisioncam's products here in South Africa, and international links will also be available in the video description. Guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and if you want to be notified of all the upcoming videos, please remember to hit that bell notification as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.